Hey, what's up, Ward Wrestling here? Man, it's been quite a day. I feel like I'm on the NAIA road today. I had a couple of your enemies. No, no,
Nah, no
no,
enemies.
no enemies. I had Life and I had Lindsey Wilson. It was good talking to those guys. But man, we got Travis Patrick right here in my backyard with the SEU Fire. Uh, Took over back in maybe 2020 or 2021, I remember.
Yep,
Uh,
2021.
from Brent George, who was there for a while. And you know, if you don't know, it's Southeastern University. He wrestled at Southern Oregon University, but since he's been at SEU, 3 top 5 finishes, third, and fourth, 2 top 5 national dual finishes, 18 All-American, 4 finalists. He also had 2 NAIA individual champions when he was over in Arizona Christian and Menlo, and he's done a lot there. But you also did Bond win his under you?
No, he was the year before I got here. So I was at Arizona Christian the year that him and Kirkham won
And yeah, because I
it. We've
saw
had we've had Gage
the
Braun
finalists.
and Sal. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and they both won it, right?
Who's that?
Sal won it, didn't he? Not this year, but
So
last year.
Gage Braun won it my first year here, and then Sal Silva won it last year.
So not listed. He also had a couple national champions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2 NAIA individual champions. I see it there. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, he's at SEU and he coached there. But man, welcome to the show. I know last time I had John, I was actually physically there when you first took over, and we did a cool walkthrough through the program.
Been a couple years. We'll have to have you back out here to do another facility tour.
Yeah, it was awesome being there for that YIC duel. That was a pretty cool thing with the kids.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. JT did a great job putting that together, and it's fun to have some of the younger studs in the state coming in and competing.
Well, you definitely have such a great stadium there, for lack of better words. But
yeah,
for people that would want to not only come and see you guys wrestle during your dual season, but to come and put on tournaments there, because it's such a great little room there, and the lighting and everything.
Sure.
And plus it makes these young kids feel like, wow, we get to wrestle in a college room.
Yeah, it's special. It's special, and it's our media services and all that does a great job putting it on with the lighting and all that. So we actually hosted like a powerlifting, like an AAU powerlifting event in the spring last year as well. Just kind of rolled up the mats and hosted it with the lighting and stuff. So that was cool too.
So man, this year you guys finished 4th, which is huge. I think last year, I think you guys ended the season what? Well, I remember you got all the way up to 7, and then you got up to 5, and then this year you got to 4. So man, it's been a hell of a build there. I feel like since you've taken over, I think we talked about this when it went from George, who was a Florida guy. Everybody was wondering, are they going to bring in a Florida guy? And they brought in you. And at first people were like, huh. But then you got to work, and it seems like you're doing it. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. You are clearly doing a hell of a job there, bringing in great people, not only from Florida, but from around the country. What's it been like there the last 4 years since we spoke?
Yeah,
3 years.
It's been awesome. It's been a whirlwind, I guess, but took over. Program was obviously in a great spot. Took 9th and 7th before I got here, and it's one of the things I said when I got the job and talked to the team was like, man, this is not a rebuild. Obviously, this is a continue to build, and so we've been able to do that, and it's a beautiful campus, and we have great facilities like you just talked about. So first year was just bringing a few pieces in, right? We brought in some tough freshmen in that class that have done well for us, and some transfers. We brought in Braun as a transfer that had won it that year, and Silva was a big impact transfer for us that got on the podium that year. End up winning the next year. But some of those freshmen that we brought in that first year were able to continue to build and grow. And then this last year got on the podium. Trace Braun, we had brought in, that was a freshman my first year here. Cale Brisker was a freshman my first year here, and they had been 2-time qualifiers going into this year, and then both of them got on the podium this year. So it's fun to see those guys that you bring in develop over a couple years, end up getting on the podium, and they'll be going into their senior year hoping to climb a little bit. But adding some big pieces, and we brought in DeBrocki that next year, took 3rd for us this year, and brought in a guy like Andrew Voiles from Georgia who redshirted last year and got on the podium as a redshirt freshman this year. So, it's a place where I feel like we can bring in tough freshmen and develop them. And then it's also a place that we can get some good impact transfers that, want to come down to the sunshine and, like Graham Calhoun did at semester this year and end up being a national finalist. So it's a place that we can build and develop kids, and it's a beautiful campus and a good place to recruit to. Obviously,
it is a beautiful campus.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously we want to keep the Florida studs here, and we're, working hard, and we got a couple local kids, and, one Austin Chung from Lake Gibson, who's going to be, I think, a stud for us. But then we can also get studs from out of state. We got multiple time state champs from, Alabama and, Ohio, and, we got a kid from New Mexico coming in next year. So it's a place that, we can recruit kids from all over the country and that can have success here.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Lakeland has really become a beautiful little town. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff there. That little downtown area is kind of like living in the Northeast when you get into that downtown area, and then that beautiful campus there. And SEU is not an easy school by any means. You get in there, they don't just expect you to be an athlete; they expect you to get your education also.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously faith-based, right? And
Yep.
And a lot of that. So, the same questions I tend to ask the NAIA coaches. A lot of kids are told, NCAA or bust, or D1 or bust, or things like that, right? And a lot of them are under the perception that maybe they can't wrestle at a high level in NAIA, or they can't get to compete against the best in the country. And you could talk on this. I've noticed lately that you guys are wrestling the division schools. You guys are wrestling in the opens. You guys are bringing in D1 programs and D2 programs to duel against. And how does that help the growth of not just your NAIA program, but the athletes too?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to put our guys in the position where they're going to be competing against the best guys in the country. I mean, obviously at the NAIA level, but NCAA D2, D1, like we want to go wrestle those schools. And I was talking to one of our guys in our end of the year meetings, had a lot of success here, and saying, I want to put you in positions where you're going to get beat, or you could get beat next year, so we can keep growing. And that's part of it, is we go search the best competition out. And I think, like you said, some kids have the Division I or bust, Division II, NCAA or bust kind of mentality, and that's fine. Everybody's got a different journey, a different path they want to take. But I mean, I think we've shown that NAIA wrestling is really high quality wrestling, and we're competing against a lot of the SoCon schools. We're, as far as going to tournaments, but also recruiting. We're recruiting, a lot of the kids that we're talking to. We're talking to the Campbells, we're talking to the Bellarmins, we're talking to, the Chattanoogas. Like we mentioned, we got a kid transferred in from Chattanooga this year. So I think it just depends on the experience you're looking for. We're a little smaller school. We're obviously a faith-based school. But I think if kids are looking for a chance to compete maybe a little bit more, and a chance to compete on the national level maybe a little bit sooner, we may be able to offer that kid that opportunity, and a little bit different life balance, right? Where I think a lot of times at NAIA, you get to be a little bit more of a true student athlete, right? So smaller class sizes, and you get to know your professor a little bit more. You're not sitting there with 100 kids in a auditorium. We got maybe 20, 25, 30 kids in your classroom. So a little bit more hands-on experience, a little bit more one-on-one. And, we've shown that even with that smaller setting, we're competing against the best teams in the country.
Yeah. Obviously it helps to have one of the best programs in our state in your backyard. Obviously, you get to go see them wrestle a lot. They get to come see you wrestle. They do a duel in your house. And I've started to see you do that over the last couple of years, where you're bringing high school teams into duel on your campus. You're bringing in small tournaments, small camps, small clinics. How has that helped in the recruiting process, and how has that helped kids kind of recognize you and notice you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all relationship building, is what it comes down to, and that's most of recruiting is just building those relationships with coaches, with the athletes, even when they're a little younger, bringing the kids into camps and getting to know them and showing them some love. So I love doing the high school duel. That's something we want to keep doing. So we switched it up. We've done Lake Gibson for the past several years. And last year, gave Auburndale and George Jenkins the chance to come in, which was cool. Other Polk County schools, and working on that date still this year. What we'll do, but usually that's kind of that first week in December, but gives those kids a chance to come in and compete, like you said, and we have a great environment and a great dual environment. So they get to come in and then stick around and watch us wrestle. Usually it's another Florida team. And so, like I said, it's relationship building with the coaches, with the athletes. And I think that helps us a bunch in recruiting.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love, there's some matchups I'd love to see under those lights, do a Jesuit and a Braves, typical.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a tough matchup there. Bring in, a South Dade. Man, how cool would it be to see it like a South Dade versus like a Lake Highland Prep, right?
Yeah.
And see the levels of those two, but under your lights, that would be pretty cool. But man, so yeah, the last 3 years you've really built. You're seeing a lot of good kids come in. I've been over to the campus. And I asked the other two coaches this because they did want to discuss this a little bit, but with the landscape changing in the NCAA and pay starting to happen and NIL deals starting to happen, has that helped you guys? Has that hindered you guys? Are you even involved in that at all?
Yeah, I mean, the NIL doesn't hit us, and probably D2 the same way it's going to hit Division I, right? I mean, you got the big names, going to the Penn States and the Iowas and Ohio States and what have you that are getting paid, but NIL is, legal, right? It's in the same way it's D2 and us, like they can get NILs, but people aren't handing out money and deals to a NAIA All-American the same way they are to a Division I All-American. I don't think, like I said, us in Division II are pretty much the same as far as the size of schools and competitiveness. So it hasn't really affected us much, other than I feel like the mentality around that is everybody's kind of looking a little bit more. I think people are always going to mimic Division I, and that's just whether it's in schedule or travel or whatever. And I think that our athletes are always going to kind of look at those guys too. The transfer portals become obviously a big thing at the NCAA level, and we don't have a direct transfer portal with NAI, but I do think, transferring becomes more and more of an issue. I think transfer portal can be a good thing, but transferring, becomes a little bit of almost a bad habit at times when somebody doesn't get what they want, or maybe they had a bad year, or maybe they felt like they're not getting the attention, and instead of maybe sticking it out where they were, guys are quicker, I think, with the kind of NIL era to go, okay, well, I'm going to go find somewhere that appreciates me. So
Sure,
a little bit more prevalent, but yeah, as far as NIL stuff, we don't see the same impact here.
Yeah, you guys, are you guys able to get into that? Not necessarily. Are you able to take from the portal, or are they able to?
Yeah.
Or do you have to only be NCAA to get those kids?
No, we can. And we don't have like the direct access that the NCAA schools have to the portal, but we're aware of kids going in the portal, and so we can access some of that.
So that can help you guys in that way, right? See some
for sure.
NCAA coming off the bat.
I think sometimes kids will hop in the portal and think, oh, I'm going to get this offer, I'm going to go to this NCAA school, and maybe they're not getting what they wanted, and so it gives us a chance to kind of talk to them and say, hey, well, here's a different opportunity where maybe it's grad school. A lot of kids go in as grad transfers, and so good chance for us. Hey, we got some great grad programs, man. A little bit cheaper than undergrad, and you can come get a great graduate degree and finish your last year or two of wrestling here.
On another note, you're a new dad, right?
Yeah, somewhat new. 14 months. Yeah, that was I'll tell that story briefly, but that was last year's national tournament, 2023 national tournament. So my wife was very pregnant leading up to that, and we were kind of like, man, should I go? What's that going to look like? So we went to our doctor leading up to it about a week before nationals, and everything was good. Okay, we're going to come back the day before we leave. So Wednesday, we were supposed to leave the next day and just checked. And she's like, yeah, you're good. The baby won't be here for another week. You'll be fine. We'll see you next week. We can talk about inducing. Great. All good. Get on the plane, go to the national tournament, get through Friday, All-American rounds, all that stuff. And we're having dinner with the coaching staff that night. And she calls me midnight Florida time and 11 o'clock out in Kansas. And she goes, hey, my water broke. And so it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm in Kansas and at least a plane flight away. So booked the earliest flight I could out the next morning. Was on a plane at 5 o'clock heading back to Florida. So yeah, got here and had a beautiful baby daughter and watched the national finals from a hospital room. But yeah, it was something. It's a story that she'll get to hear. My daughter Georgia will get to hear when she gets older, but she got to spend national tournament this year. She got to go out there, which was cool.
That's
pretty
awesome.
We're out there.
Pretty different feeling being a dad now, huh?
Yeah, man, it's life changing. It definitely whole different level of like prioritization, like where yours going, man. It's not, it's never about you, but it's definitely not about me now. Like and I got so much other stuff where it's like, this, my daughter's dependent on me for everything. So it's great. It's definitely taught me some lessons over the last year.
She's already got a little headgear, little shoes on running around.
Not yet. We're working there. She got some onesies that say, things about her. She got a USA Wrestling onesie and some other stuff. We'll get the singlet for her soon.
That's awesome. And I think I brought this up to you when I was there, when I saw you. Man, how cool would it be to get a girls program in Florida?
Yeah, man. I definitely, girls wrestling's growing so much in the state of Florida, and there's some tough girls that are going out of state, and whether they're going to Life or, Burton Parker's got a program and, kind of there in the South Georgia. So I feel like it's a matter of time. I know, we really haven't been adding sports at Southeastern, but I think it'll happen. I don't know when, but, I think we got 3 programs in us, Kaiser and St. Thomas, and, whoever jumps on that train first and adds women's wrestling is going to have a leg up in that for sure.
Yeah, it'd be, we'll see if you do it now, then, like about 18 years from now, you'll have a spot for.
Yeah, I'm already. Yeah, we'll be conducting some interviews for that, women's position. You have to be somebody pretty good if my daughter is going to come wrestle.
Yeah, it's awesome. Omi just had a little girl too, so we're going to have that rivalry again.
Oh yeah,
about 18
years. 18 years down the road.
Patrick versus Acosta at the U20s.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're like, damn. Now I got to see Omi for another 18 years.
Yeah, I just different. We'll both making the shift over to the women's side or something.
But it's awesome. I know that LifeView's been your carrot, just like Grandview was his carrot when he was coming up, and
sure,
it's cool to see all you guys. Pretty much the 3 best teams. The top 4 teams out there are and 3 of you are in it. How much does obviously I'm sure it drives them. How much does it drive you or how much do you pay attention to what like a Grandview or a Life is doing to try to get there?
Yeah, I think you're always aware of it, right, and what they're doing. Yeah, we're been behind them the last couple of years, and even we're in the same conference, right? So you're more aware, man. It's we're dueling them. Last couple of years we've dueled them twice a year because we wrestle them at national duels, and we'll wrestle them in our either our home and home, and then we see them at the conference tournament. So, and then obviously we're matching up against them at the national tournament. So yeah, Omi's doing a great job, and it's we're both younger guys in the coaching profession, which is fun, and he's a fiery dude. So it's fun to get to compete against him. And for me, with our team, we don't really make it about Life or about Grandview. We make it about us, and it's just continuing to grow and improve and bring the right guys in that are going to fit our culture, that are going to wrestle our style, and we're trying to be as good as we can be. So
it shows, right? Because when you took over, you were 7.
Yeah,
you're up to what, 4?
Yeah. So like I said,
So,
third, and fourth, and so we were what, a point and a half out of third this year. So, my my old boss at Menlo, they edged us out a little bit. So we were, one more match falls our way instead of their way, and we're third instead of fourth. But yeah, and they're going D2 next year, so they're out of the NAIA. So
oh wow.
it was yeah, fun to be. I would have rather been on the other side of it, and be third and him fourth. But it was fun to kind of be in that trophy race with them in their last year in the NAIA.
Yeah, I asked NAIA coaches, like, would you ever want to turn your program into an NCAA program? Because I'm sure it can happen, but most of them, and I don't know if you're on this same opinion or not, most of them really, really love the NAIA. The NAIA, they love the
Yeah.
rules about the NAIA. They love the kind of the open opportunities they have to be able to do the things that you can do that you're kind of constricted on, I guess, at the NCAA
Yeah.
level. How is your program a program you would ever want to go that route, or are you pretty happy where you are?
I'm with like what you just said. Like, I mean, I think I like the NAIA. I've been an NAIA guy and wrestled and coached my whole career in the NAIA. So I think there's some beautiful things about it. I think no place is perfect. I don't think we have plans to go D2. Um, I think, yeah, you see a lot of schools making the jump up, and I think we'd be competitive D2. But I think with NAIA, yeah, there's some great things that NCAA has got some different restrictions and stuff that they put on for different reasons. But little things like us being able to take 12 to the conference tournament is just a little wrinkle, right? So we were able to double up at 149 and 157 this year, and out of those four guys, we end up with, Parker Baraki took third, and then we had three other guys that were blood round, in those weight classes. So I think that's cool. Our scholarships for us, they work the exact same as Division II does or Division I. So that's no different. We just don't have some of maybe the restrictions that NCAA puts on with recruiting or dead periods and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, the world of Florida would selfishly be like, "Yeah, come on, we need an
Sure.
NCAA program, right?"
Right.
But I think, yeah, I think what you guys are doing is great, and it's been really cool to see. You got into Florida, and right away you were at different schools, you were watching wrestling, you were getting to camps in these different programs, you were getting all around the state, and it's really good to see because that definitely helps. Not just, I mean, obviously you want kids to come to your school, but you also want to be out there developing kids to be good humans, to be better wrestlers, and go off and go to college and do what they do.
Right.
So it's pretty cool to see coaches like you guys doing that. I think you and Soto are doing another one. I know Soto is back
Yep.
in the high school coaching gig now,
Yeah. In the
but
area.
you guys tend to do camps together a lot. So
Yep.
uh,
Yeah. We'll be
yeah,
down
man,
Manatee in May. I think I don't remember if I have the first day or he's got the first day, but both be down there with Coach Goog.
that's awesome. You driving down to Poseidon?
Over in Winter Haven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably try to pop over there, either myself or I'll send in an assistant. So we got graduation on Friday night. But yeah, I'll probably try to pop over there for a little bit.
And then you've got summer knockout, you've got
Yep.
Spartan, you got some good tournaments coming up this summer.
It's busy,
Um,
busy. A
Hope to see
lot
you
of good
guys at all
wrestling
those.
in the summer. Yeah.
Well, man, obviously it's always great to catch up. Is there anything else that we need to shout out there? Is there anything coming up at SEU or places you're going that you'd love to see kids be a part of? I know you guys. I think it was last year you started the Fire Club, right? Is that
Yeah.
still going on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, we got a few things going on this spring, and some good updates with our program. We got a 1-day clinic we're going to be doing here on May 18th. And that's just kind of where we've kind of found we haven't really done a lot of the overnight clinics, but just kind of some 1-day ones here. And then, I'll be traveling all over the country doing some camps, but hired, like you mentioned before we got on the call, hired a new assistant in Douglas Peppers. So longtime assistant Kobe Reyes took a head job up in North Carolina. So happy for him. And it was kind of that time for that transition. He'd been with me for 4 going on 5 years and was ready to make that jump. So hired our graduate assistant Douglas Peppers, who was an All-American for us as a senior. So he'll be stepping into the head role starting this summer. Excited for him. I think he's a passionate guy and knows wrestling, good technician, and excited to help him grow. So, and then we'll be keeping Parker DeBrocki, our graduated for us this year, got third for us at the national tournament. He'll be staying as our GA. So have a good.
And he's the gentleman that was coaching the kids at the clinic, right? The bigger guy.
No, that was a different guy. DeBrocki was around though. He was there with Lucio, who you were talking to. But no, DeBrocki is from Minnesota. He was a JUCO kid, RCTC kid, 3-time JUCO All-American, came down and was 2-time qualifier for us and took third this year to loaded 149 weight class. So, but he'll be GA for us.
One more question. I know this year was different because of the transition of Soto down there at Kaiser, but are we going to get the Florida duels coming back?
Man, I know we're waiting to see who they're going to hire. I was actually asking about that a little bit yesterday, and it sounds like, I don't know who they got, but it sounds like they might be hiring somebody hopefully soon. But definitely would like to get something like that going. I know we have St. Thomas. I was working with Pozo and have them set coming up for a duel, and I got to work with whoever they hire at Kaiser on setting a date too. So definitely both those teams will be up here for a duel, whether that's the same day or different days. We'll definitely both have both of them here.
And you guys, I think this year Life came to you, right? So next year you go to them.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll go to Life in February and Bruton Parker in February, and then we'll have both the Florida schools over here.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys ever want to see a hell of an NAIA duel, I mean, that's one to watch whenever they're here or they go there. Two of the best teams in the country go head to head, and there's some really good matchups there. So if you can get out and ever see one of those duels, it's awesome. And if you haven't been out to their room, which I think nowadays all of the kids mostly have come around because you do so much over there now. But if you haven't been in their room, it's what do they say? It's like a small Cornell, right? It's like Cornell's
something like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's modeled that way, at least. So yeah, we got about 3 mats. Well, we do. Yeah. We have 3 mats worth of space, and transforms. It's pretty crazy how it transforms from practice day to match day. So
yeah, a beautiful weight room there. I mean, if you guys get a chance, go in there. I got to see their weight room. The campus is unbelievable. I think the best thing is there's a Chick-fil-A right across from the wrestling room. So for all you wrestlers that like that Chick-fil-A, man, it's I mean, maybe 50 steps from the front door of the gym.
Yeah. We're located right in the middle of campus, which is nice. So we got, it's easy for the guys to get from their dorm to here, and we got the dining hall, 5-minute walk down the road, and bookstore, all that stuff, coffee shop, all kind of right out our front door here. So I don't have to go far.
I think if you put a Chipotle right next to Chick-fil-A, you'd get all the recruits.
Shoot, I know our guys would probably love that. They like Chick-fil-A, but man, they always go for Chipotle.
I feel like it's a wrestler's thing. Obviously I had a son that wrestled in high school and is now up in college. And then I've got a younger one that's kind of likes it. He's kind of not as passionate as the older one is, but he's doing it once in a while. We go a couple days a week, but that's all I can ask. I just tell the little one, I don't care. I learned a lot from the big one, right? Because I did things that were incorrect, and I learned stuff. So the little one, I'm just like, you know what? If you ever get good at it, great. If you ever do this, but I just want you to be around it a little bit, because I think the discipline you get for life by being a wrestler or around wrestling or in a wrestling room will really help you as an adult. So I tell them, if you can at least give me a few days a week, I mean, that's cool. I mean, it builds up a confidence. It builds up a lot of things. I mean, first of all, you're able to defend yourself. You're mentally able to carry yourself well. It gets you through some hard positions, which, as we know in life, one day you're there working, the next day the boss calls you, tells you you're fired, and you're like, oh shit, what do I do next? And a wrestler will know how to just grab his straps and say, okay, well, that was bad. That was a bad day, but I got a better day coming, right? So I kind of want to push him, which I think you would agree with, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like every kid, Dad, after weigh-ins, Chipotle. I think they get the big bowl of chicken. I'm sure at the college level it's the same way, huh?
Yeah, it fills you up. I feel like it's on the healthier side of the fast food, I guess. So, you can
Right.
rationalize it a little bit better, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a go-to.
I'm I'm surprised wrestling and Chipotle haven't made a sponsorship deal yet.
There you go. That's one maybe we can pitch out there, see if we can get them sponsoring our post weigh-in meals or something.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. Well, man, it's obviously it's been a pleasure getting to know you. I'm glad when I get to get out there and it's been fun. It's been fun watching you guys grow the program there and do so many great things for the youth in the state too. So I appreciate that, and you know, always thanks for supporting me.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for all you do for the sport, Dan.
Well, you take it easy, man. I appreciate you.
All right. Yep. Use